كل شيء قدير. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما واجعل التفرق بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تدع فينا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم آمين. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful. All the praise and thanks are due to him, and peace and blessings be upon his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are still in the context of the battle of Badr, the second year. We know last time we had an idea about the battle of the non-believers. Then we started having some kind of the details from the believer side. As you know, in the Seerah, one of our first aims in this session, we don't seek just to have more information. We need to fix misconceptions. We need to fix new concepts. We need to link concepts together. We need to understand and analyze and try to portray the big picture of understanding. Plus, every time I see new faces, I would keep reminding with the following important scientific fact. We are dealing with Seerah. Seerah is different from Sunnah. Sunnah literally means the way. Terminologically, Sunnah basically are what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did, said, acted upon, reacted towards, which we derive from them the legislations, the rulings, the teachings. However, the Seerah is much more wider in terms of the span of the time and the coverage of something has nothing to do with teachings or rulings. So Seerah has more history, more details, and less direct influence on the teachings. However, it broadens our mind to understand the context, because the Seerah covers Prophet Muhammad ﷺ before he started to become a prophet. So we understand even before his birth. So now, when we speak about the Battle of Badr, we are understanding some details as to how Seerah will help us to understand the context in the Quran. For example, the Battle of Badr is mentioned in chapter Al-Anfal. Very limited verses, a number of verses. But how do you understand it? From the Seerah. The context, what used to happen. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, while talking about the Anfal, the things that they gained, after the war is finished. What happened? Why? Why Allah is blaming them? وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. We understand it from the Seerah. So, in the context of the Battle of Badr, now, today, we will be sharing some very beautiful, amazing. Why I'm saying amazing? Because today we will speak about a miraculous aspects, not just a normal information. Our first message today is مشاركة الملائكة. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the angels literally, physically to be part of the soldiers in the battle. It's not spiritual meaning. No. Literally, they came. Last time, we mentioned how Prophet Muhammad ﷺ mentioned in the hadith sahih that this is Jibreel. He said, he was telling them, I saw Jibreel holding the rope of his horse, having his special, in a human form. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ sees what others do not see. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, إِنِّي مُمِدُّكُمْ بِأَلْفٍ مِّنَ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. Then, بِخَمْسَةِ آلَافٍ. The first, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent 1,000, up to 5,000 angels. Now, we will see one of the narrations, which is, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, by Sahih Muslim. I will read the narration. I will translate literally what does it mean. Then we will go to the concept of something has to do with the faith. Let's see, let them get into. Now, when the angels participated. أهلا وسهلا. روى ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال: بينما رجل من المسلمين يومئذ يشتد في إثر رجل من المشركين أمامه. أهلا وسهلا. You're most welcome. أهلا وسهلا. أهلا. He said, you know, now they started the battle now. And it happened second year after the Hijrah. It's about 14, let's say, before 1,400, about 30 years from now. Now the battle started between the people of Quraysh, Abu Jahl, and the Muslims. قال بينما رجل من المسلمين يومئذ يشتد في إثر رجل من المشركين إذ سمع ضربة بالصوت فوقه والصوت الفارسي يقول أقدم حيزوم. You know, now as you know, just to put you in the context, just because we have new faces, Muslims, it was their second year at Al-Madinah. They were kicked out of the Medina. They lost all of their money, properties, families, and big part of them, they were tortured. So they managed to settle down at Al-Madinah, about 450 kilometers, just to know the context. Now, the people of Mecca, they were to the south, just if this is like if I'm using this as a, okay? If we said, here's the Medina, here's Mecca, there's the Red Sea, if you can see. I mean, can you see? Okay? If this is the Red Sea, here is Mecca, 500 kilometers up to the north is Al-Madinah. Okay? You can see me, I think. Now, about few hundred kilometers up to the north, it's Bilad al-Sham, Levant. Okay? Allah mentioned in the Quran, رحلة الشتاء والصيف. You know, it's mentioned where Allah favored the people of Mecca by the fact that they were in the mid of the desert at that time. However, they used to have the journey of the winter and the journey of the summer. The journey of the summer used to be to Levant. Levant, Bilad al-Sham, which means Jordan, Palestine, Syria, Lebanon. So the people of Mecca used to come in the summer up to the north. In the winter, they used to go to the south, to Yemen. Now, after Muslims, they were kicked out of their homes, they were tortured, they were at Al-Madinah, they were in the mid of the road of the merchants' caravan between Mecca and Levant. So they heard about the yearly journey. The yearly journey contains a caravan with tens of camels. In our language today, tens of big lorries and trucks full of goods, okay? So they said, okay, this is our opportunity to take part of our money because we were kicked out, we lost our houses, our money, everything, we lost everything. And many of them, they were killed and tortured. And as you know, the caravan escaped. Then the people of Mecca, they sent 1,000 fighters, fully armed, fully equipped to fight. Muslims, they were 313, 2 horses. By the way, we need to understand this because a non-believer cannot accept this mathematically, okay? When you believe in something and you know that Allah is able to do many things. So the people of Mecca, the Arabs, the pagans, they were 1,000 fighters with horses. Muslims, they were 313. Most of them, they were walking in their foot. They have just 2 horses because they were there after the caravan. They were not there to fight. Then they were shocked with the fact that the people of Mecca, they escaped with the caravan and the army is coming to them. So they had one of 2 choices, either to escape to protect themselves or to face the army that is attacking them. At the end, they decided to face their destiny by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In our faith, Allah was so satisfied from their believers because they were defending themselves and they were fighting their enemy who kicked them out of their homes, took their land, took their money, tortured part of them, killed part of them, and they were not planning to fight. They were forced to fight, but by the will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God Almighty, now the battle happened. Allah mentioned in the Quran that He supported them with angels. Let's stop this. Allah mentioned that He sent 1,000 angels and in another verse 5,000 angels. Pause. If you don't believe in these things, you can't accept, because like a prerequisite. It's like prerequisite. If you don't believe in the general rule, you can't grasp, you can't realize, you can't understand. It's like, give you a simple example. Imagine that you have no idea about medicine at all. No knowledge, no medical knowledge, no science, no classes, no schools. For whatever reason, you came from an area where you did not attend anything has to do with schools. So you have no knowledge about science or medicine. So if someone is talking with another person and you are witnessing them talking, first person tells the other, do you feel well? He says, no, I feel I have a big problem in my throat. I think I have an infection. I said, okay, I will give you antibiotic. What is the antibiotic? It's a medicine. It's a pill with this size. If I don't have any knowledge or trust in medicine, anything, and someone said, take this and you will be okay. For me, it's a myth. For me, it could be a fake wasting of time because I have no knowledge. So therefore, I don't believe and I don't trust. If he came to me and said, hey, don't touch me, don't give me. How can I know if this is a rubbish or a garbage or a, no. But this is, this is a medicine. What is the medicine? I have no knowledge. Maybe if for whatever reason, I trust this person and I accepted to be exposed to some kind of sessions and I see something, I analyze, maybe I will start accepting the possibility that medicine does exist. Then by the witnesses, maybe after reading, after comparison, I myself become a doctor later on. But at the very beginning, by the way, if someone say, but how can I know? If you are a believer in the power of the Creator, the fact that the Creator decided to send angels to support a number of believers is something very simple. If you believe in the attributes of the Creator, okay? That's why today's now part of what we've been told in the authentic sources that Allah sent angels to support the believers in their fight because they were supporting justice and they were, attacked by the people of Mecca. In this specific narration, one of the believers, he said, from Muslims, he said, I saw one of the fighters, so قال كان يشتد في إثر رجل من المشركين. He was chasing, by the way, maybe you are aware, we are talking 14 plus 100 years ago. They did not have this kind of high technology machine gun, no laser guns, no machine guns. It's just a sword, spear, and an arrow. So sometimes they used to fight, to attack, and someone will escape, the other one will follow him, and you try to hit him, the other one will defend himself. They might use stones, with these simple, humble physical things. قال بينما يومئذ يشتد في إثر رجل. One of the Muslims was chasing, running behind someone. He wanted to hit him. قال سمع ضربة بالصوت فوقه. He heard the sound of the horse whip, the lash, like this. You realize the sound. He was trying to hit him, then he said, like this. Once he heard this, am I doing it well? Okay? Okay. So he heard this, the sound of the lash or the horsewhip. Then he said, سمع ضربة بالصوت فوقه, and he heard someone says, أقدم حيزوم. He said, go ahead, attack حيزوم. We will discover later that this sound, attack حيزوم. حيزوم later, let me read the narration. قال فنظر إلى المشرك أمامه فخر مستلقيا فنظر إليه فإذا فهو قد خطم أنفه وشق وجهه. فجاء الأنصاري فحدث بذلك رسول الله فقال صدقت ذلك مدد من السماء السابعة الثالثة. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I was chasing someone. He was fighting me and fighting with him. At a certain point, I was following him. I wanted to hit. Then I heard the sound of the lash. Then he was thrown on his back and he lost his nose and there was a big sign on his face. And I did not know anything. Then he said, truth. It was an angel from the third heaven. Why not from the fourth heaven? I don't know. Why Allah decided to send an angel not from the first heaven? We don't know. Okay, so this was one of the authentic hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The angels were fighting with the believers at that specific time. Another narration. Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib. You know who's Abbas? The direct uncle of Prophet Muhammad. In the Battle of Badr, the second year of Hijrah, if you don't know, Prophet Muhammad was sent as a prophet and messenger in the age of 40. He passed away in the age of 63, so it means 23 years. Now, 13 years he stayed in Mecca, asking the people to follow the religion of truth. Then he migrated to Al-Madinah. 2 years after being at Al-Madinah, 13 plus 2, which means 15 out of 23. 15 out of 23, it was the first fight defending themselves. You need to know that. Because we are living in a time, the mainstream media. MashaAllah. You feel very proud with the genuine honesty of CNN, for example. Fox News. They are lying directly on air, lying. Say, what? You are witnessing. They are lying while you are witnessing. So subhanallah, the mainstream media, Muslims, violence, Muslims, Islam, Muslim, it's subhanallah. So the Muslims, they were targeted, tortured, kicked out of their land, killed, and yet they were not allowed to defend themselves physically except in the year 15 out of 23. The percentage is how? 15 out of 23, which means after about 65 to 70% of the time of their existence, they were not allowed, even though many of them, they might able yet, because just and when they were attacked. Now, Al-Abbas radiallahu anhu, who was the uncle of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at that specific time, still he was with the pagans, with the non-believers. So he was in Ma'rakah Badr. He was taken as a captive, as a war prisoner. Look, the direct uncle. Pose, another pose. One of the biggest accusations against Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he was a false prophet and he was not a genuine prophet. One of the accusations that he was a genuine Arab leader, was trying to gather his people against others. You explain to me who should be with him, supporting him by the very beginning if this was his aim. His direct family. His direct uncle. The only person who was mentioned in his name as a cursed person in the Quran was the uncle of Prophet Muhammad. Even though he was the direct brother of his father. Tabbat yada Abi Lahab wa tab. Subhanallah. One of the closest uncles to his heart, Abdullah, Abu Talib, was begging him to believe. Yet Allah told him, he was not able to force him to be a believer. How come someone with the least amount of reasoning can accuse Prophet Muhammad that he was a genuine Arab person? He wanted to gather Arabs for their benefits. Yet the most powerful enmity against him was from his own people. How come? How come he was gathering his people, if this is true? They were against him. How come Prophet Muhammad is accused that he was a false prophet, and one of his biggest fights was with Jews and Christians? True or false? At that time, because Christianity was the Roman Empire. Jews, they were big tribes at that time. He had tens of prophets of Jews and Christians in the book praised. Solomon, David, John the Baptist, Jesus Christ, Moses, Abraham, Jacob, all of them. If you insult them with a word, you will lose your faith in Islam. But how come? How come? But how come Roman Empire, as a Christians, they were attacking him, yet he received the revelation of a full chapter about Al-Imran and Maryam, the Virgin Mary, full chapter, defending her from the accusation that she was accused that she committed adultery and she had illegitimate child, i.e. Jesus Christ as illegitimate child. Who was defending her? Muhammad ﷺ in his book. If he was composing this, you tell me. Imagine, I mean, the accusation against Muhammad ﷺ, like in our nowadays terminology, like, for example, an Ukrainian leader is completely attacked by Russians and, let's say, Chinese, for example, and this شو اسمه الرئيس شو اسمه زيلينسكي, his first name, his surname Zelensky. Okay, imagine Zelensky now, he's being attacked by the Russians. They are bombarding his country, and every time he comes with a nice YouTube clip speaking about the virtues and the good things in the Russian culture. Seriously, I'm not joking. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine this? I mean, the people will think that he's crazy. Can you imagine Zelensky writing a poem praising Putin? Seriously, I'm asking you, can you imagine this? Can anyone accept or expect Zelensky to do this? Technically, practically, politically, does it happen? It's impossible. How come Prophet Muhammad was attacked by Roman Christians, yet his book contains full chapters defending genuine Christians, on top of them the Mother Mary of Jesus Christ? You tell me. You get my point? You know, I mean, we need to do this. Why I'm saying this? Because it's not just to know about your history, because part of your history, at a certain time, you were fighting. You see, Muslims, wait, understand the context. Understand the context, because if you want to misuse this, we can use it. Can we accuse French people of being violent terrorists because they were defending themselves from the German Nazis? I'm asking. Can we accuse French people as being violent terrorists because they were defending themselves from German Nazis? Yes or no? طيب, what if someone did it? I'm asking logically now. If someone now is accusing French people of being violent terrorists because they were defending themselves against German Nazis, what do you call this person?
Liar.
Huh?
Liar.
Liar. Or give me all possible logical, reasonable possibilities.
Ignorant.
Liar. Ignorant. Yes. Ignorant. Liar. What else? Hypocrite. Yes. Hypocrite. Ignorant. Liar. What else? What else? Someone who has a hidden agenda, a benefit. He's benefiting somehow. We don't know how. Okay? But how come? It's either you know or you don't know. If you don't know, ignorant. If you know, liar or hypocrite. By the way, this is exactly if someone looks to the context of fighting in the history of Islam without understanding the context. It's exactly. If you don't want to understand the context, and by the way, we can use the same logic to accuse Americans of being violent, what? Terrorists, because they were defending themselves against British colonials, settlers. By the way, when Americans celebrate the independence, they were independent from whom? British. How did they manage to become independent? Did they throw roses in the faces of the British? Which means says, British, go away, go away, go away. Then they sent red roses in their faces. Then the British left America. Is that what, seriously I'm asking, did the Americans do this? So, oh, they resisted. Oh my God, so they were terrorists. I mean, I'm talking about the history. Wallahi, seriously. Because I talk about the Battle of Badr, by the way, okay? Because when we speak about the Battle of Badr or the Battle of Uhud, many people, they say, you see, subhanallah, from the very beginning, you always talk about fighting, fighting, fighting. No. You tell me about any nation in the history, at a certain time, they were not, or they were able to avoid fighting, defending themselves. No. So it's anyway, because, in the context of the Battle of Badr. Now, one of the Ansar, the Ansar, the helpers, those who welcomed the immigrants from the Makkah. قال أسر رجل من الأنصار العباس بن عبد المطلب. Now, in another narration, a short رجل من الأنصار. To give you an idea, because Al-Abbas, it seems he was, with a huge size. So simple, humble, petite, short believer from the Ansar, he took Al-Abbas as a war prisoner or as a captive. He brought him to Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. فقال العباس يا رسول الله إن هذا والله ما أسرني. He said, Ya Rasulullah. Now Al-Abbas, he was a war prisoner, okay? His hand was tight. He was controlled, even though physically he was much more powerful than the one who took him. When he faced Prophet Muhammad, his nephew, he said, Ya Rasulullah, Wallahi, this man is not the one who took me as a captive. Said, Ya Rasulullah, لقد أسرني رجل أجلح من أحسن الناس وجها على فرس أبلق ما أراه في القوم. This narration is a sahih, it's an authentic narration. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I was taken as a captive by a man who has less hair in his, he was describing the man. قال رجل أجلح من أحسن الناس وجها. أجلح means he has a lot of hair here, less hair here. قال إن أحسن الناس وجها, he has a very beautiful face. And he was riding أبلق horse. أبلق means a horse which has the two colors, white and black. So he was describing a man. قال ما أراه في القوم. I can't see him. The one who took me as a captive was not that person. It's someone else. But he is not here. Then Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then when he finished this, the Ansari, he said, this Muslim, he said, أنا أسرته يا رسول الله. It's me يا رسول الله who took him as a captive. فقال له محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم اسكت فقد أيدك الله بملك كريم. He said, keep silent. Prophet Muhammad said to the Muslim, to Ansari, he said, keep silent, it's not you. Allah was backing you and supporting you with an angel. The angel is the one who took him, which was, you know, so subhanAllah, it's amazing. It's by the way, the Battle of Badr is it's considered in the Islamic history the greatest battle. And it's called Al-Furqan. You know Al-Furqan? Al-Furqan means the barrier between truth and falsehood. Because from that specific moment, year 15, which is second year of migration, Allah gave the power for the believer to start defending themselves, to start spreading the message of truth for everyone. So it was one of the rare occasions where Allah sent angels to fight with them. And subhanallah, by the will of Allah, Allah, look how pure their hearts were, and they were lit 1,000 fighters fully equipped against 313. All of them, they were walking in their feet except 2 horses, which means in the physical measurements, it's as if 1 to 10 or 1 to 20 or 1 to 30, because one knight or one cavalier or one fighter fully equipped with a horse can defeat maybe 20 or 30 persons walking on their feet. Because just, you know, the speed of the horse, with one sword, you can kill 10 people. Easily you can kill. Because you can't do nothing. And by the way, they did not have shields. Many of them, they had just the sword, not even the spears. So it's, in the military calculations, as if 1 to 50. Yet they were defeated by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the third narration that I will be using, inshallah, today, then I will finish today's, as I told you. Now, because we are dealing with the Seerah, we have a lot of historical details. Historical details, it gives us like a broader idea about what used to happen here and there, not necessarily more details. Now, Masra'u Abi Jahl, the end of Abu Jahl. Who's Abu Jahl? Abu Jahl, by the way, is a very significant figure in the Islamic history. Because Abu Jahl, his name is what? Amr bin Hisham. Amr bin Hisham. His physical characteristics in our calculations about 2 meters. Because he and Umar al-Khattab and Khalid al-Walid, they were giants in the Sahaba, 3 of them. They were very tall, you know, very strong personality, to a degree that Prophet Muhammad at the beginning of Islam, he used to pray to Allah, Allahumma a'izz al-Islam bi ahad al-Umarain, Umar ibn al-Khattab or Amr ibn Hisham. Prophet Muhammad, with his vision as a human being, without receiving a revelation, he was looking in Makkah, which contains thousands of people. He was hoping in his heart that one of 2 persons, Umar al-Khattab or Amr ibn Hisham, one of them, if he became a Muslim, this will be one of the biggest victorious times in supporting Islam and Muslim. One person. By the way, sometimes one person is more important than 1 million person. A leader, a great personality, a great character. So subhanallah, and it happened just few weeks or months after this dua, Umar al-Khattab became a Muslim. And the biggest enemy of Islam was Amr ibn Hisham. La ilaha illallah. It's subhanallah. The 2 persons in which Prophet Muhammad was looking, hoping one of them will be the best victory, it happened. The other one was the biggest enemy. And both of them, they were leaders. They were leaders. Now, Abu Jahl, his Islamic title is Fir'aun هذه الأمة. He's the Pharaoh of this nation. Pharaoh, you know, Pharaoh is the Egyptian leader against Moses in his time and against the children of Israel in Egypt at that time. So he's the symbol of evil. So like Pharaoh in the history of against the children of Israel, because, you know, we believe that all prophets and messengers, they were following the message of Islam. So children of Israel in Egypt, when they were tortured, we consider them submissive believers who were tortured because they were Muslims. So Pharaoh was teaching them exactly Abu Jahl in our terminology. So Abu Jahl, in this battle of Badr, in the year 15, he was in the top leaders of torturing Muslims. He was the top of evil actions against anything has to do with Muhammad ﷺ or his followers. In this battle, he was finished. But see to the very interesting event how he was finished. Now the narrator is Abdurahman bin Auf. You know Abdurahman, one of the great Sahaba. He says, قال بين أنا واقف في الصف يوم بدر. It was when I was in the line, waiting to start the fight. قال نظرت عن يميني وشمالي فإذا أنا بين غلامين من الأنصار حديثة أسنانهما. While I was waiting, I was approached by two young men from the Ansar, from the helpers of the believers. Young men, you would say about 15, 14, 16 years old, still, young. قال فغمزني أحدهما فقال يا عم هل تعرف أبا جهل. غمزني means, to poke me, like I said. He came to say, he said, عمو, you see, uncle, do you know Abu Jahl? Because they were from the people of the Medina. They don't recognize the face of Abu Jahl, the enemy of Muslims, the leader of the enemy of the people. They don't know him. So they came, one of his left, one of his right. They came to him and say, uncle, do you know Abu Jahl? It came coincidentally that they approached him because he's from Makkah. He recognizes the face of Abu Jahl. And all the fighters, they are from Makkah. The people of the Medina, they don't recognize their faces. Because at that time, no photos, no cameras, no mobiles, no iPhone, nothing at all. I mean, if you don't know the person directly, you don't recognize him. Then they came to him and say, Ya Amma, uncle, do you know Abu Jahl? Then he said, قال قلت نعم. He said, yes. وما حاجتك? What is your need? Why you are asking me about Abu Jahl, young man? He said, سمعت أنه يسب رسول الله. He said, I heard that he used to insult and to curse the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. سبحان الله. سمعت أنه يسب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم والذي نفسي بيده لأن رأيته لا يفارق سوادي سواده حتى يموت الأعجل. He said, because now they are about to start the battle. خلاص. Now it's either I will finish someone or someone will finish me. It's the field, the battlefield now. They are just the last few minutes before they start, attacking each other. The two young men came. Their aim was they wanted to recognize who is Abu Jahl because they don't know him. Then he said, why you are asking me Abu Jahl? He said, we heard that he used all the time to insult and to hurt Prophet Muhammad at Makkah. And we want to show him. Which means I want to fight Abu Jahl. You want to say young man, by the way, Abu Jahl is one of the giants of fighters. Yani, literally, they are less than maybe half the size of Abu Jahl. Abu Jahl can just by a slap finish them. Yet, they wanted what? To fight Abu Jahl because he used to insult Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. قال فغمزني الآخر فقال مثله. The second one said the same thing. قال فلم أنشب أن نظرت إلى أبي جهل يزول بين الناس. He said, once they finished asking me, I noticed the shadow, zawal we say, yazulu bayna nas. I noticed, Abu Jahl from a long distance, when you say, فَلَمْ أَنْشَدْ أَنْ رَأَيْتُهُ يَزُول, which means from a long distance I noticed Abu Jahl. He said, do you see that person? This is Abu Jahl. He said, أَلَا تَرَيَانْ هَذَا صَاحِبُكُمَا. This is the person that you are asking about. قال فَابْتَدَرَاهُ فَضَرَبَاهُ بِسَيْفِهِمَا حَتَّى قَتَلَهُ. They immediately attacked him. Both of them, they hit him till he fell down from his horse. Now, this narration says they thought that they finished him, but they did not. Because we discovered later that Abdullah bin Masoud, when the battle is finished, he was looking in the battlefield. He saw Abu Jahl still in his ramaq al-akhir. He was yet not passed away completely. You know, رمق الأخير, as if breathing, but still, he's still alive. He did not die completely. Look what happened. Abdullah bin Masoud from Yemen. And Abdullah bin Masoud, in one of the narrations, his size was so petite and small to a degree. His legs was very thin to a degree. In one of the incidents, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ asked him to cut a piece of the arak. You know the arak? Arak is that special tree in which Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and Sahaba used to use to clean their teeth. It's called the tree of the arak. Yes, the tree is al-arak, and we took the siwak from it. The siwak is like the toothbrush now. So he asked Abdullah bin Masoud to jump one of the trees to cut a piece from this arak to make a siwak. When he jumped, the Sahaba looked to his, you know, how tiny and thin his legs were to a degree they laughed at him. They could not help but laughing. He was, as if when you say, hey, your legs like a small boy, you are not like a man. Because he was very petite. Why I'm mentioning this? Abdullah ibn Masoud, he was very small and petite. When he was in Makkah, once he insisted to recite the Quran next to Al-Kaaba. Abu Jahl was a giant. He came to him, Abu Jahl. He just captured his head with his hand like this. He held him up, then he cut his ear with his hand like this, and he threw it. He came to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he was crying out of the pain because he managed to cut his ear just by his hand like this. Cut it. Abu Jahl, he was a giant. Abu Jahl was thrown still at the last of his, time. Still, he was not. Abdullah bin Masoud came to him. Now he's lying, about to die. Abdullah Masoud found him coincidentally. Look to what happened between them. It's an amazing, wallahi, when I was reading and preparing. Then Abdullah bin Masoud, when he saw him, he wanted just khalas to finish him. What did Abu Jahl say to him in the sound narration? He said, لو غير أكار قتلني. From the Arabs, who know what's the akkar? Akkar. No. Denial? Denier? No. Who knows in Arabic? Arabs, what is the akkar? It's good if the Arabs don't know. طيب, akkar means fallah. Farmer. Do you know what this means? You know how racist he was? Look how arrogant he was. In their context, they were looking down to the farmers. By the way, up to this moment, many countries, the people of this city, when they want to insult someone out of racism, they say what? In many Arab countries, بيقول لك هو فلاح يا زلمة شو فاهمه. They say فلاح means what? Farmer. And I thought this is just an Arabic problem. I heard that this happens in the UK as well. In the UK, when they want to insult someone, they say farmer. Abu Jahl used to use it. Look how arrogant he was. He is down, about to die. Abdullah bin Masoud came. He was out to finish him. He said, لو غير أكار قتلي. He said, I wish if a non-farmer killed me. Shame on you. How come a farmer kills me? Which means I don't care to be killed, but not by a farmer. Look how arrogant he was. He was dying, about to lose his life now. In a moment, in a second. He wanted to insult him. I say, okay, I don't care to lose my life, but not on the hand of a farmer. By the way, Abdullah Masoud was not a farmer. But he wanted to insult him with something at that time was used as a racist word, even though he was dying. Look how arrogant he was. But do you think this is something really reasonable, can be accepted? Could arrogance lead to this? And I finished myself. I just find a question. Could arrogance lead to something like this? You know what's the biggest evidence to that? That it is very possible? Iblis, Satan. Satan was an eyewitness on the creation of Adam in our faith. Did he witness or not? The creation of Adam. But when Allah commanded him to prostrate for Adam, he refused. What did he say? I'm better than him. You created me from fire and you created him from clay or mud. Type. That's why Iblis is considered in our faith the first racist, which means I have arrogance because of my ethnic origin. I am white and you are black. I am whatever and you are whatever. I am whatever and you are such and such. Okay? So he's the first racist. Type. Does Iblis know for sure that he will go eternal to the hellfire? Yes. Did that prevent him from committing this crime out of arrogance? No. So does arrogance really lead to horrible things? Yes. Is it possible an arrogant, he knows the haqiqah, he knows the reality, he knows the truth, yet he will act upon something against it? Yes. Iblis is the best example. He was there, he was an eyewitness with the angels, witnessing the creation of Adam, yet he said, I'm better, I don't want. You will go eternally to the hellfire. Yes. So let's ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from arrogance. Because arrogance, by the way, is or could be considered, by the way, arrogance is the first sin committed in the history of existence. Arrogance. Arrogance. The second sin was what?
Jealousy.
Yes. Envy or jealousy. Hasad. The two sons of Adam. When Allah asked both of them to sacrifice something and Allah accepted from one of them, the other one had this kind of envy. Okay? Jealous. Why God accepted from you? But I did nothing for you. Khalas, Allah accepted from me. What can I do? I will kill you. And he killed him. The first sin is arrogance. The second sin is envy or jealousy. This is the biggest two disasters, the existence of humanity started with. So it's something, by the way, that's why in our faith, many people will refuse the truth not because they don't know it. Not because they are ignorant. No, we have another obstacles. Sometimes ignorant, yes, and sometimes misled, but sometimes they know, but arrogance. Yes? And this is Abu Jahl. In our story here, Abu Jahl, he knew, he realized, he admitted, but I don't want. I don't want. Face the consequences. And this is applicable on many criminals, by the way. Can we claim that every criminal is ignorant? By the way, can anyone claim that all criminals are ignorant? Or most of the criminals, they do plan, they understand, they do their best efforts to commit a crime knowing what they are doing, true or false? That's why we consider them criminals and we punish them. True or false? طب and I finished my طب one question inshallah, then we finish. تفضل دكتور.
One part of the story that I've read about the death of Abu Jahl was that he was huge compared to Abdullah bin Masoud, that when Abdullah Masoud wanted to finish him, he had to climb over him, had to go above him, and he has some difficult time.
He was
huge. And then Abu Jahl said, لقد ارتقيت مرتقا صعبا يا ربيعي الغنم, to one of the narrations, that you have reached somewhere high and you're just a ra'i ghanam,
shepherd.
A shepherd of sheep.
Even ruwai'i, which means like a small shepherd.
Yeah, and he had a sword that was not very sharp at the end of the battle. In one of the Seerah books I've read, that he told him, use my sharp sword.
I avoided all of these narrations and I just took what I know is very genuine.
100.
Yes, that's why I did not use them.
Yeah.
I know, but I just chose the highest authentic narrations. That's why I did not mention all of this. Jazakallah khair. طيب, barakallah fikum. Tomorrow, inshallah, we have our tafsir, the interpretation of the Quran session, inshallah. See you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.